The little girl's shoes barely touched the floor as she climbed onto the velvet chair across from him. 7 years old, maybe 8, with neat cornrows tied with bright red ribbons, wearing a green dress that looked freshly ironed. She placed a small purple notebook on the white tablecloth and clicked open a pen with the seriousness of someone conducting a business meeting. Warren Mitchell froze, his water glass halfway to his lips. He glanced around the restaurant, looking for the woman he was supposed to meet, looking for anyone who might claim this child. The other diners continued their meals, oblivious. The servers moved between tables like nothing unusual was happening. But everything about this was unusual. "Are you Warren Mitchell?" the girl asked, her voice clear and confident. "I am," he managed, setting down his glass. "And you are?" "Tessa Harper. My mom was supposed to meet you today, but she's busy. So I came instead." She opened her notebook, revealing pages of carefully written questions in purple ink. "My grandma helped me get here on the bus. She's waiting outside to make sure you're not weird." Warren's mind raced. His grandmother had arranged this blind date, insisting he needed to meet someone special. He'd agreed only to stop her pestering, expecting a quiet dinner with a stranger that would lead nowhere. He had not expected this. "Your mother sent you to a blind date?" he asked slowly. "No, sir. She doesn't know I'm here." Tessa's expression didn't change. "She thinks I'm at my friend's house doing homework. But Grandma Margaret called Grandma Ruth, that's my grandma, and said you were a good man who needed to meet my mom. So here I am." His grandmother. Of course. Margaret Mitchell had orchestrated stranger things in her 83 years, but this topped them all. "Tessa," Warren leaned forward, trying to catch the attention of a server. "This child needed to get home safely. This is very brave of you, but you shouldn't be here alone. Let me call someone to take you back to your mother." "Not yet." She held up one small hand. "First, I have questions. My mom works too hard to waste time on someone who isn't serious. She works at County General Hospital in the morning, cleans offices in the afternoon, and waits tables at Joe's Diner at night. She only gets 4 hours of sleep. So I need to know if you're going to waste her time." The matter-of-fact way she described her mother's exhausting schedule made Warren's chest tighten. He thought of his own privileged life, the comfortable home, the successful business, the freedom to choose how he spent his time. "I wouldn't want to waste anyone's time," he said carefully. "Good." Tessa consulted her notebook. Question 1. Why aren't you married already? "You're old." Warren almost laughed. "Almost. I'm 35. And I haven't found the right person yet." Question 2. Do you want kids? "I do actually. Very much." Question 3. What's your favorite food? That one surprised him. Probably my grandmother's pot roast." "Why?" "Because my mom makes the best pot roast in the whole world, and if you don't like pot roast, you're not compatible." Tessa made a check mark in her notebook. Question 4. Do you believe in helping people? "Yes, I do." "Prove it." Warren blinked. "How would you like me to prove it?" Tessa closed her notebook and looked at him with eyes that seemed too old for her young face. Eyes that had seen hardship. "My mom is drowning. She won't say it because she's proud and strong, but I can see it. We're 3 months behind on rent. I need new shoes, but she keeps putting cardboard in my old ones so they last longer. Last week, she cried in the bathroom because she couldn't afford my asthma medicine. Then she went to work with a smile like nothing was wrong." The restaurant sounds faded away. The clinking silverware, the murmured conversations, the soft music. All Warren could hear was this brave little girl describing a reality he'd never had to face. "She would be so mad if she knew I was telling you this," Tessa continued, her voice wobbling just slightly. "But Grandma Margaret said you were kind. Said you help people. So I'm here asking, will you help us? Will you give my mom a chance?" Warren felt something crack open in his chest. When was the last time someone had asked him for help so directly, so honestly? When was the last time he'd felt truly needed? "Tessa," he said gently, "where is your mother right now?" "At the hospital. She does double shifts on Thursdays." "And when does she get home?" "Not until 10. Then she'll check my homework, make sure I ate dinner, and fall asleep on the couch because she's too tired to walk to her bedroom." Tessa's eyes filled with tears she was clearly trying to hold back. "I just want her to smile for real again. Like she used to before my dad died." The weight of it all settled over Warren. A widow. A struggling single mother. A little girl so desperate to help that she'd come to meet a stranger on her mother's behalf. Have you ever watched someone you love struggle and felt powerless to help? What would you do if a child asked you to save their family? Drop a comment below and subscribe to see how Warren answers Tessa's plea. Your support means everything. Warren pulled out his phone. I'm going to make some calls. But first, I need you to call your grandmother and tell her to come inside. I'm not comfortable with you being here without an adult who knows you. Tessa's face lit up with hope that nearly broke him. She pulled out a flip phone, the kind that cost $10 at a convenience store, and dialed. Within minutes, an elderly black woman in a bright red coat entered the restaurant. She had kind eyes and a careful expression as she approached the table. "Mr. Mitchell, I presume," she said, offering her hand. "Ruth Harper. I apologize for the unconventional approach. Please sit down." Warren gestured to the empty chair. A server appeared immediately, and he ordered drinks and appetizers without looking at the menu. "Mrs. Harper, your granddaughter has been very forthcoming about your daughter's situation." Ruth's expression tightened with worry. "Tessa, baby, what did you tell him?" "The truth, Grandma. Just like you said. The truth with no shame, because Mom has nothing to be ashamed of." "That's right," Warren said firmly. "There's no shame in struggling. There's only shame in looking away when someone needs help." He turned to Ruth. "I'd like to meet your daughter. But more than that, I'd like to help immediately. Tonight. What are your most urgent needs?" Ruth opened her mouth, clearly ready to refuse out of pride, but Tessa grabbed her hand. "Grandma, please. Remember what Pastor James said. When God sends help, you don't send it back." The older woman's eyes filled with tears. "The rent. We need $3,000 by tomorrow or we're evicted. And Tessa's medicine is $200. Warren was already texting his assistant. "Consider it done." "What else?" "Mr. Mitchell, we can't just take your money," Ruth protested. "You're not taking. I'm giving. There's a difference." He looked at Tessa. "Your daughter raised a remarkable little girl. That tells me everything I need to know about her character. The least I can do is make sure that little girl has a roof over her head and the medicine she needs." Tessa burst into tears, the careful composure finally breaking. Ruth pulled her close, her own tears flowing freely. Warren's phone buzzed. His assistant confirmed the transfers were processing. "Mrs. Harper, the money will be in your account within the hour. But I'd also like to offer your daughter a position at Mitchell Medical Solutions. We're always looking for experienced healthcare workers, and I'm guessing someone working 3 jobs knows the meaning of dedication." "She's a nurse," Ruth said softly. "A good one. She had to drop down to nursing assistant work because the hours were more flexible after my son-in-law died, but she's got her RN license." "Perfect. Have her call my office tomorrow. We have an opening for a charge nurse in our outpatient clinic. Better pay, better hours, and full benefits including health insurance." Ruth stood abruptly and walked around the table. Before Warren could react, she pulled him into a tight hug. "God bless you, young man. God bless you." When she released him, Tessa was standing too. She looked at him with an expression far too serious for a child. "Do you still want to meet my mom?" she asked. "For real, I mean. Not because you feel sorry for us." Warren smiled, and it felt like the first genuine smile he'd worn in months. Maybe years. "Tessa, I would be honored to meet the woman who raised such a brave, smart, loving daughter." "Yes, I want to meet her. Very much." "Okay." Tessa picked up her notebook. "But you should know she's really pretty and really nice, so you're probably going to fall in love with her." "Tessa?" Ruth gasped, but she was smiling. Warren laughed, a real laugh that came from somewhere deep inside. "I guess we'll see. Now how about we get some dinner? I'm starving and I'd like to hear more about your mom. And about you. And maybe you can help me figure out how to explain to her why her daughter crashed my blind date." As they settled in to eat, Warren felt something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Purpose. Connection. Hope. He didn't know it yet, but his life had just changed forever. All because a 7-year-old girl loved her mother enough to ask a stranger for help. And he'd been lonely enough and human enough to say yes. The appetizers arrived. Tessa carefully explained which ones her mother would like, already planning their first real meeting. Ruth watched Warren with the careful eye of a protector, but there was approval there too. Outside, the city continued its evening rhythm. Inside this small corner of an upscale restaurant, 3 people who'd been strangers an hour ago began to weave their lives together. Warren's phone buzzed again. His assistant confirming everything was arranged. He looked at Tessa, who was explaining to her grandmother exactly how she'd planned this entire evening, and felt his heart expand in a way he'd forgotten was possible. Tomorrow he would meet Nicole Harper. Tonight, he'd already met the most important person in her life. And he'd passed the test. Nicole Harper's feet ached as she walked down the hospital corridor at 9:30 that night. 14 hours. She'd been on her feet for 14 hours, moving between patient rooms, checking vitals, changing bandages, offering comfort to people who were scared and hurting. Her blue scrubs were wrinkled, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she could smell the antiseptic that seemed to cling to her skin no matter how much she scrubbed. But she smiled at the night nurse taking over her station. She smiled because that's what you did. You smiled and you kept going. Her phone buzzed as she pushed through the employee exit. A text from her mother, "Come straight home. Important." Nicole's stomach dropped. Important could mean anything. Tessa's asthma. An accident. Another bill she'd missed. She texted back quickly, "Is Tessa okay?" "She's fine. Just come home." The bus ride took 30 minutes, 30 minutes of Nicole's mind racing through possibilities. She'd left Tessa at her best friend's house to do homework. Her mother had agreed to pick her up at 8. What could have happened in those few hours? When she finally climbed the 3 flights of stairs to their apartment, she found her mother sitting on the worn couch with Tessa curled up beside her. Both of them looked at her with strange expressions. Not worried. Almost excited. What's going on? Nicole dropped her bag by the door, her nurse's instincts checking Tessa for any signs of distress. "Sit down, baby," her mother said. "Mom, I've been sitting with patients all day. Just tell me what's wrong." "Nothing's wrong." Ruth stood up, went to the kitchen counter and returned with her phone. "Check your bank account." Nicole's confusion deepened. "Why?" "Just check." She pulled out her own phone, logged into her banking app and stared at the screen. The numbers didn't make sense. Her checking account, which had held $73 this morning, now showed $3,273. "What?" She looked up at her mother. "What is this? Is this a mistake?" "No mistake." Ruth smiled, the kind of smile that held secrets. "Sit down, Nicole. Your daughter has a story to tell you." Nicole sat, her legs suddenly weak. She looked at Tessa, who was fidgeting with the hem of her green dress. A dress Nicole hadn't seen this morning. "Baby, where did you get that dress?" "Grandma's closet. The one you wore when you were little." Tessa took a deep breath. "Mom, please don't be mad. I did something without asking." Over the next 20 minutes, Tessa explained everything. The phone call from Margaret Mitchell to Ruth. The plan to meet Warren. The bus ride to the restaurant. The interview. The conversation about their struggles. Nicole's emotions swung wildly between horror, embarrassment, pride, and disbelief. Her 7-year-old daughter had gone to meet a strange man. But she'd also been brave enough to ask for help when Nicole had been too proud. "Tessa, you could have been hurt," Nicole said, her voice shaking. "You can't just meet strange men." "He wasn't strange. Grandma Margaret knows him. And Grandma Ruth was right outside the whole time." Tessa reached for Nicole's hand. "Mom, he was nice. Really nice. And he wants to help you. We can't just take money from people." "It's already in your account," Ruth said gently. "The rent is due tomorrow, Nicole. We were going to lose this place." Nicole knew that. God, she knew that. She'd been lying awake at night trying to figure out how to convince the landlord to give them one more week. Trying to decide which bill to pay and which to let slide. Trying to be everything Tessa needed when she felt like she was barely holding on. "There's more," Ruth continued. "He wants you to call about a job. A real nursing job with benefits." Nicole's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Ms. Harper, this is Warren Mitchell. I hope you'll forgive the unconventional meeting with your daughter. I'd very much like to speak with you about the position at Mitchell Medical Solutions. Please call at your convenience. And please know the money comes with no strings attached. Consider it a friend helping a friend, even though we haven't met yet." She read the message 3 times. Her pride wanted to send the money back. Her practical side knew she couldn't afford to. "What did you tell him about me?" she asked Tessa quietly. "That you're the best mom in the world. That you work harder than anyone. That you make the best pot roast." Tessa climbed into Nicole's lap, something she rarely did anymore, trying to be so grown up. "And that you deserve to be happy." Nicole wrapped her arms around her daughter and cried. Not the quiet tears she shed in the bathroom when things got too hard. Real sobs that shook her whole body. Tears of relief and fear and hope all mixed together. Ruth moved to embrace them both, and they sat there on the sagging couch in their cramped apartment, holding each other. "I'm scared," Nicole admitted. "What if this is too good to be true? What if it's exactly what we've been praying for?" Ruth countered. Nicole thought about her late husband, James. He'd been a construction worker with the biggest heart and the worst luck. The accident hadn't been anyone's fault. A freak thing. A cable snapping. A life ended in seconds. She'd been 26 with a 4-year-old daughter and a mountain of medical debt. 3 years. 3 years of running on fumes. 3 years of smiling through the exhaustion. 3 years of praying for a miracle. Maybe this was it. Okay, she whispered. Okay, I'll call him. But I'm paying back every penny of that rent money. Sure you will, baby? Ruth kissed her forehead, clearly not believing her but wise enough not to argue. That night, after Tessa was in bed, Nicole sat at the kitchen table with her mother and actually looked at their finances. With the money Warren had sent, they could pay rent, get Tessa's medicine, and buy groceries that weren't the cheapest option. They could breathe. Tell me about him, Nicole said. This Warren Mitchell. Ruth smiled. Margaret talks about him all the time. She was my patient 2 years ago when I was still doing home care. Sweetest woman you'd ever meet. Her grandson runs some big medical company. She says he's lonely. Works too much. Needs someone to remind him what matters. And she thinks I'm that someone? She thinks you're special, Nicole. And when she heard about James, about everything you've been through, she never forgot. She's been waiting for the right time. To set me up with her grandson? Nicole shook her head. That's crazy. Maybe. Or maybe it's perfect. Ruth reached across the table and squeezed Nicole's hand. You've been surviving, baby. Maybe it's time to start living again. Nicole looked at her phone, at Warren's message still on the screen. The words were simple, direct, kind. No pressure. No expectations. Just an offer of help. She typed out a response. Mr. Mitchell, thank you for your generosity. I'm overwhelmed and honestly a bit embarrassed that my daughter put you in that position. I'd like to discuss the job opportunity and also arrange to repay the money you sent. Would tomorrow work for a phone call? His response came immediately. Tomorrow is perfect. How about we meet in person instead? Say 2 o'clock at the Riverside Cafe? And please, there's no need for repayment. Consider it a gift with no obligations. Nicole stared at the message. A gift with no obligations. When was the last time someone had given her something without expecting something back? She glanced at the photo on the wall. Her and James on their wedding day, both so young and full of dreams. He'd want her to be happy. He'd want Tessa to have opportunities. He'd want Nicole to accept help when it was offered. Okay, she whispered to his memory. Okay, I'll try. She texted back. 2 o'clock works. See you then. That night, for the first time in months, Nicole slept through the night without waking up in a panic about bills or schedules or how she'd make it through another day. She dreamed of green fields and bright sunshine and a little girl laughing without worry. When she woke, Tessa was standing by her bed with a glass of orange juice and toast. Good morning, Mom, her daughter said with a huge smile. I made you breakfast. Nicole pulled her close, kissing the top of her head. You're something else, you know that? I know. Grandma says I get it from you. As Nicole got ready for her morning shift, she felt something unfamiliar stirring in her chest. It took her a moment to recognize it. Oh, maybe, just maybe, things were about to change. At 1:30, Nicole stood in front of her closet trying to decide what to wear. She'd called in a favor and gotten someone to cover the last 2 hours of her shift. Now she was second-guessing everything. The red dress was too fancy. The jeans too casual. The blue blouse had a stain she'd never quite gotten out. Mom, wear the maroon one, Tessa called from the doorway. You look pretty in that. Nicole pulled out the maroon dress. It was simple, comfortable, nothing special. But it was clean and it fit well. You think so? I know so. Tessa came into the room and sat on the bed. Are you nervous? Terrified. Don't be. He's nice, Mom. Really nice. And he already thinks you're amazing because I told him so. Nicole laughed despite her nerves. What am I going to do with you? Love me forever? That's the plan. At 1:50, Nicole walked into the Riverside Cafe. It was a nice place, not too fancy, with big windows overlooking the water. She spotted him immediately. Warren Mitchell sat at a corner table, and when he saw her, he stood. He was tall, well-dressed in dark slacks and a crisp white shirt, with kind eyes and a nervous smile. He was also holding a small bouquet of daisies. Nicole's heart did a strange flip. This was really happening. Warren had changed his shirt 3 times that morning. 3 times. Like a teenager preparing for prom instead of a grown man meeting someone for coffee. But when Nicole Harper walked through the cafe door, every nervous moment was worth it. She was beautiful. Not in the polished, perfect way of the women he usually met at charity galas and business dinners. She was beautiful in a real way. Tired eyes that still held kindness. A careful smile. Hair pulled back simply. The maroon dress was modest and slightly worn at the hem, but she wore it with quiet dignity. She looked like someone who'd been tested by life and refused to break. Miss Harper, he said, extending the flowers. Thank you for meeting me. Nicole took the daisies with a surprised expression. These are lovely. You didn't have to do that. I wanted to. Please sit. They settled into their chairs and for a moment, awkward silence hung between them. Warren had conducted countless business meetings, negotiated million-dollar deals, given presentations to rooms full of executives. But sitting across from this woman he felt completely out of his depth. So, Nicole said finally, my daughter ambushed you. Warren laughed and it broke the tension. She did. But I have to say, it was the best ambush I've ever experienced. I'm mortified. I had no idea she was planning any of this. Don't be embarrassed. She loves you. That much was clear in every word she spoke. Warren leaned forward slightly. And she's not wrong. You do deserve better than working yourself to exhaustion. Nicole's expression shifted, becoming more guarded. Mr. Mitchell, I appreciate what you did. The money, the job offer. But I need you to understand something. I'm not looking for a handout. I'm not looking for someone to rescue me. I know that. Do you? She met his eyes directly. Because from where I'm sitting this looks like charity. And I've been on the receiving end of charity before. The pitying looks, the whispered conversations about poor Nicole and her daughter. I don't want that. Warren nodded slowly. You're right to be cautious. But let me be clear about something. This isn't charity. The job I'm offering is real. We genuinely need a charge nurse in our outpatient clinic. The previous one retired last month and we've been struggling to find the right fit. And you think I'm the right fit after never meeting me? I think someone who works 3 jobs to support her daughter, who's been a nurse for years, who clearly has the respect of her colleagues, is absolutely the right fit. Your former supervisor at County General is Margaret Chin. I called her this morning. She had nothing but praise for you. Nicole's eyes widened. You called my supervisor? I did. I wanted to make sure I was offering you a position you'd actually be qualified for, not just making empty promises. Warren pulled out a folder from his bag. This is the official job description, the salary range, and the benefits package. Take it home. Review it. Talk to your mother, your daughter, anyone you trust. I'm not asking for an answer today. She took the folder but didn't open it. And the money you sent? A gift. No strings attached. There are always strings. Not this time. Warren sat back. Look, I'm not good at this. At talking about feelings or motivations. But I'll try to be honest. My grandmother has been on my case for years about being too focused on work, about not having a life outside the office. She's right. I've built a successful company, but I come home to an empty house every night. When Tessa showed up yesterday when she talked about you with so much love and pride, something clicked. He paused, trying to find the right words. I'm not trying to rescue you. I'm trying to do something good because I can. Because meeting your daughter reminded me that there are people out there struggling through no fault of their own, and I have the resources to help. Does that make sense? Nicole was quiet for a long moment. The server came by and Warren ordered coffee for both of them, giving her time to think. Finally she spoke. My husband died 3 years ago. Construction accident. We had some life insurance, but it wasn't enough to cover his medical bills from the ICU. I've been digging out ever since. I'm sorry. Everyone's sorry. Sorry doesn't pay rent. She said it matter-of-factly without bitterness. I loved him. He was a good man. But he's gone and I have to take care of our daughter. That means swallowing my pride sometimes. It's not about pride. It's about survival. Maybe. Nicole opened the folder and scanned the job description. Warren watched her eyes move across the page, saw the moment she registered the salary. Her hand trembled slightly. This is real? She asked quietly. Completely real. That's the starting salary for a charge nurse in our clinic. You'd work 4 10-hour shifts a week, rotating weekends. Full health insurance starts immediately. Dental and vision included. 3 weeks paid vacation, sick leave, and a retirement plan with company matching. A tear slid down Nicole's cheek. She wiped it away quickly, but more followed. I could take Tessa to the dentist. She needs braces. I've been putting it off because I can't afford it. With this insurance you can. Warren reached across the table and gently touched her hand. Nicole, you've been carrying the weight of the world alone. Let someone help. She looked at him, really looked at him, searching his face for any sign of deception or ulterior motives. Whatever she saw there must have satisfied her, because she nodded. Okay. Yes. I'll take the job. Relief flooded through Warren. You will. I will. And I'll be the best charge nurse you've ever had. I promise you that. I don't doubt it for a second. They smiled at each other and something passed between them. Not romance, not yet. But recognition. Two people who'd been lonely in different ways, finding an unexpected connection. The coffee arrived and they talked for the next 2 hours. Nicole told him about nursing school, about her years at the hospital, about Tessa's love of reading and math. Warren talked about building his company from scratch, about his grandmother's influence, about feeling like success meant nothing if you had no one to share it with. "Can I ask you something personal?" Nicole said as they finished their second cup of coffee. "Of course. Why aren't you married? Tessa said you told her you haven't found the right person, but that seems hard to believe." Warren considered his answer carefully. "I've dated. Even had a few serious relationships. But there was always something missing. They were attracted to the money, the lifestyle. Not to me." "Does that sound ungrateful?" "No. It sounds honest. What about you? Are you ready to think about dating again?" Nicole hesitated. "I don't know. Maybe. It's been 3 years and I know James would want me to be happy. But it's hard to even think about that when I'm just trying to keep my head above water." "And now that you won't be drowning?" She smiled. "Now I guess I'll have to figure out what normal life looks like again." Warren's phone buzzed. His assistant reminding him about a meeting in an hour. He'd completely lost track of time. "I have to get back to the office," he said reluctantly. "But Nicole, I'd like to see you again. Not about the job. Just to talk. Like a date? Eventually, maybe. If you're open to it. But for now, just as friends. People getting to know each other." Nicole gathered her purse and the folder. I'd like that a lot." They walked out of the cafe together. Warren's car was parked at the curb, a sleek sedan that probably cost more than Nicole made in a year. She didn't comment on it, but he saw her notice. "Can I give you a ride home?" he offered. "I'll take the bus. I need time to think about all this." "Of course." He pulled out a business card and wrote on the back. "That's my personal cell number. Call me anytime. Day or night. If you need anything or if you just want to talk." Nicole took the card and slipped it into her purse. Then, on impulse, she stood on her toes and kissed his cheek. "Thank you," she whispered. "For seeing me. For seeing us." Before Warren could respond, she turned and walked toward the bus stop, the folder clutched against her chest like treasure. Warren stood there watching her go, his hand touching the spot where her lips had been, and felt his carefully ordered world shift on its axis. He was in trouble. The best kind of trouble. When he got back to his office, his assistant Sandra took one look at his face and grinned. "Good meeting?" she asked innocently. "The best," Warren admitted. "Get HR on the line. We need to process new hire paperwork for Nicole Harper. And Sandra, make sure everything is perfect. This one matters. They all matter. Not like this." That evening, Warren visited his grandmother in her elegant townhouse. Margaret was in her garden, tending to her roses despite the cooling weather. "Well?" she asked without turning around. "How did it go? You're a meddling old woman, you know that?" Margaret laughed, her whole face lighting up. "I'll take that as confirmation that it went well." Warren sat on the garden bench and told her everything. About Tessa's ambush, about meeting Nicole, about the way his heart had responded to her strength and vulnerability. "She's special, isn't she?" Margaret said, settling beside him. "She is. But Grandma, I'm terrified I'm going to mess this up." "Why would you think that?" "Because I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be what she and Tessa need." Margaret patted his hand. "You don't have to know everything, dear boy. You just have to show up. Be honest. Be kind. The rest will follow. It can't be that simple. It really can't. Love isn't complicated. We're the ones who complicate it." Warren thought about that on the drive home. Maybe his grandmother was right. Maybe he was overthinking everything. His phone buzzed. A text from Nicole. "Tessa wants to know if you like cats. We're thinking of getting a kitten now that we can afford pet deposits and vet bills." He smiled and typed back, "I love cats. Let me know when you go to the shelter. I'd like to help pick one out." Her response came quickly, "You're trying to get on my daughter's good side. Is it working?" "Completely." Warren laughed out loud in his empty house, and the sound echoed off the walls that suddenly didn't feel quite so lonely. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something beautiful. Friday morning arrived with bright sunshine streaming through Nicole's bedroom window. She woke before her alarm, a nervous energy thrumming through her body. Today was her first day at Mitchell Medical Solutions. She'd spent the past 3 days giving notice at all 3 jobs. Her supervisor at County General had been disappointed but understanding. The cleaning service manager had shrugged and hired someone new within hours. Joe at the diner had hugged her tight and told her she deserved every good thing coming her way. Now she stood in front of her mirror, wearing the new blue scrubs Warren's HR department had sent over, along with a welcome packet that included her badge, parking information, and a handwritten note from Warren himself. "Looking forward to working with you." Tessa appeared in the doorway, already dressed for school in bright red overalls. "You look official, Mom." Nicole turned, fighting the urge to fidget with her name tag. Official good or official scary? Official perfect. Tessa came over and straightened Nicole's collar unnecessarily. "Are you nervous?" "Completely." "Don't be. You're the best nurse ever. They're lucky to have you." Nicole pulled her daughter into a hug. "When did you get so wise?" "I've always been wise. You just notice more now." Ruth appeared behind Tessa, already dressed to take her granddaughter to school. "You ready, baby?" "As ready as I'll ever be." The drive to Mitchell Medical Solutions took 20 minutes. 20 minutes of Nicole's mind racing through everything that could go wrong. What if she wasn't qualified enough? What if the other nurses resented her for getting the job? What if Warren regretted offering it to her? But when she pulled into the employee parking lot and saw the modern building with its bright windows and welcoming entrance, some of her anxiety eased. This was real. This was happening. The lobby was spacious and clean, with comfortable seating and soft music playing. The receptionist, a cheerful woman named Diana, greeted her warmly. "You must be Nicole. We're so excited to have you. Mr. Mitchell asked me to call him when you arrived." "Oh, that's not necessary. I'm sure he's busy." Diana was already dialing. "He was very specific. Said your first day was important." Before Nicole could protest further, Warren emerged from the hallway. He was dressed in a crisp white shirt and dark slacks, professional but approachable, and when he saw her, his whole face lit up. "Nicole, welcome." He crossed the lobby and shook her hand, the gesture formal but his smile genuine. "How are you feeling?" "Nervous," she admitted. "That's normal. Come on, let me show you around before you start." He led her through the facility, introducing her to staff members along the way. Everyone was friendly, curious but not intrusive. The outpatient clinic was bright and well-equipped, with 6 exam rooms, a procedure suite and a comfortable staff lounge. "This is where you'll spend most of your time," Warren explained, gesturing to the nurses' station. "We see about 40 patients a day. Mix of follow-up appointments, wound care, medication management, that kind of thing." "It's beautiful," Nicole said, running her hand along the clean counter. "Nothing like the chaos at County General. We try to keep things calm here. Better for patients, better for staff." Warren glanced at his watch. "Your orientation starts in 15 minutes with Sandra, our clinical manager. But I wanted to give you this first." He handed her a small gift bag. Inside was a stethoscope, top of the line, engraved with her initials. Nicole's throat tightened. "Warren, this is too much." "It's a welcome gift. Every nurse here gets one. Yours just happens to be personalized." He smiled. "I wanted you to know you belong here, Nicole. This isn't charity. You earned this position." Before she could respond, a tall woman in maroon scrubs approached. She had kind eyes and a capable air. "You must be Nicole. I'm Sandra Park, clinical manager. Ready for orientation?" Nicole looked at Warren, who nodded encouragingly. "You've got this. I'll check in later." The next 4 hours flew by. Sandra walked Nicole through protocols, computer systems, supply ordering, and emergency procedures. The other nurses in the clinic, Janet and Kenji, welcomed her with genuine warmth. By lunchtime, Nicole's head was spinning with information, but she felt confident. "You're a natural," Sandra said as they broke for lunch. "Some people take weeks to get comfortable with our system. You picked it up in hours. I've worked in enough different facilities to adapt quickly." Warren mentioned you worked 3 jobs. That must have been exhausting. Nicole hesitated, unsure how much to share. But Sandra's expression held only kindness. It was survival mode for a long time. "This feels like waking up from a bad dream." "Well, welcome to the good dream." Sandra smiled. "And just so you know, Warren doesn't do this kind of thing. Personally recruiting someone, I mean. You must have made quite an impression." Before Nicole could figure out how to respond to that, her phone buzzed. A text from Tessa. "How's your first day? Are they being nice? Do you like it? Did Mr. Mitchell say hi?" Nicole laughed and typed back, "Yes to everything. Having lunch now. Love you." "Is that your daughter?" Sandra asked. "Yeah. She's 7 going on 30. Warren mentioned her too. Said she's something special." "She is." Nicole put her phone away. She's the reason I do everything I do. They ate lunch in the staff lounge and Nicole learned more about her colleagues. Janet was a grandmother who'd been a nurse for 30 years. Kenji had just gotten married and was saving for a house. Sandra had 2 teenagers and a rescue dog named Buddy. Normal people living normal lives. No one struggling to survive. No one working multiple jobs just to keep the lights on. This was what stability looked like. After lunch, Nicole shadowed Janet for the afternoon clinic hours. She assisted with wound dressings, administered medications, educated patients about their treatment plans. It was familiar work, but in a calm environment that felt almost surreal. At 4 o'clock, Warren appeared at the nurse's station. "How's it going?" he asked. "Really well," Nicole said honestly. "Everyone's been wonderful." "Good. Can I steal you for a few minutes? There's something I want to show you." He led her to a different wing of the building, up 1 floor, to a door marked Employee Resource Center. Inside was a bright room with computers, a small library, comfortable seating, and a bulletin board covered with information. "We offer continuing education credits, tuition reimbursement if you want to pursue advanced degrees and counseling services," Warren explained. "I know you've been focused on survival, but now you have the chance to think about your career goals." Nicole walked around the room, touching the books, reading the course offerings. "I always wanted to become a nurse practitioner. But after James died, I couldn't afford the time or money. You can now. We have a partnership with the university. If you decide to pursue it, the company covers 75% of tuition." She turned to face him, emotions overwhelming her. "Why are you doing all this?" "Because everyone deserves the chance to reach their potential. And because, selfishly, having highly trained staff benefits the company." He stepped closer. "But mostly because I want to see you thrive, Nicole. You've spent years taking care of everyone else. Let us take care of you for a change." Without thinking, Nicole closed the distance between them and hugged him. It surprised them both. For a moment, Warren stood stiff with shock, then his arms came around her, holding her gently. "Thank you," she whispered against his shoulder. "Thank you for seeing me as more than just someone to pity. I could never pity you. You're the strongest person I've ever met." They stood there for a moment longer, then Nicole stepped back, suddenly self-conscious. "Sorry, that was unprofessional. Nicole, we're friends. Friends hug." Warren's smile was warm. "How about dinner tomorrow? You, me, and Tessa. Nothing fancy, just burgers and maybe a movie? What do you say? Like a date? Like friends spending time together? No pressure." Nicole thought about it. About how easy it would be to say yes. About how much Tessa would love it. About how her heart beat a little faster every time Warren looked at her. "Okay. Yes. Tessa would love that. What about you? Would you love it?" She met his eyes. "Yeah. I think I would." Warren's smile could have lit up the whole building. "Perfect. I'll pick you both up at 6. The rest of the afternoon passed in a pleasant blur. At 5 o'clock, Nicole clocked out, still amazed that she had regular hours now. No rushing to a second job. No falling into bed exhausted at midnight. She had her evenings back. When she picked up Tessa from her mother's house, her daughter practically bounced into the car. "Tell me everything. Every single detail." Nicole laughed and did exactly that, describing the clinic, her co-workers, the gift stethoscope, and Warren's dinner invitation. "He asked us to dinner?" Tessa squealed. "Mom, he really likes you. We're just friends, baby. For now. But Grandma Ruth says sometimes the best love stories start as friendships. Grandma Ruth reads too many romance novels." "Maybe. But she's not wrong." That night, after Tessa was in bed, Nicole sat with her mother in the small living room. The TV played quietly in the background, but neither of them was really watching. "You did good today," Ruth said. "I can see it in your face. You look lighter." "I feel lighter. Like I can finally breathe." Nicole paused. "Warren asked us to dinner tomorrow. Me and Tessa. And you said yes?" "I did." Ruth reached over and squeezed her hand. "Good. That man is good for you. I can tell." "How can you tell?" "You met him once." "I can tell because you're smiling. Really smiling. I haven't seen that since before James died." Nicole felt tears prick her eyes. "I'm scared, Mama. What if I mess this up? What if I'm not ready?" "You don't have to be ready. You just have to be willing to try." Ruth cupped Nicole's face gently. "Your heart is big enough for new love without forgetting the old. James would want this for you." "You really think so?" "I know so. That man loved you enough to want you happy even without him." Nicole nodded, letting the tears fall. Tears of grief and hope all mixed together. Tomorrow she would have dinner with Warren and Tessa. Tomorrow she would take another step forward. And maybe, just maybe, she would let herself believe that happiness was possible again. Saturday evening arrived with a golden sunset painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Nicole stood in front of her mirror, changing outfits for the third time. The green dress felt too formal. The jeans too casual. Finally she settled on simple black pants and a soft blue blouse. "Mom, you look beautiful. Stop worrying." Tessa sat on the bed, swinging her legs, already dressed in her favorite red dress with white flowers. "I just want to look nice." "You always look nice. Mr. Mitchell likes you for you, not for your clothes." Nicole turned to her daughter. "Since when did you become a relationship expert?" "Since I watch you smile whenever he texts you." The doorbell rang at exactly 6 o'clock. Warren stood on their doorstep holding a bouquet of sunflowers and a wrapped box. "These are for you," he said, handing Nicole the flowers. "And this is for Tessa." Tessa tore into the wrapping paper to reveal a beautiful book about space exploration. "This is amazing. Thank you." "I remembered you mentioned loving science," Warren said with a grin. Ruth emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. "You must be the famous Warren Mitchell. Come in, come in." "Mrs. Harper, it's good to see you again." Warren shook her hand warmly. "You taking care of my girls tonight?" "That's the plan." "Good. Because if anything happens to them, you'll answer to me." Warren's eyes widened slightly, then Ruth's stern expression cracked into a smile. "I'm kidding. Mostly. You kids have fun." The restaurant Warren chose was a cheerful place called Eddie's Grill, with red vinyl booths and old music playing from a jukebox. Nothing fancy or pretentious. Just good food and a comfortable atmosphere. Tessa slid into the booth next to Warren, already chattering about the space book. Nicole sat across from them, watching her daughter's animated gestures and Warren's patient attention. "Did you know that Jupiter has 79 moons?" Tessa asked. "I did not know that." "That's incredible. And Saturn's rings are made of ice and rock particles." "You're going to be a scientist one day, aren't you?" Tessa considered this. "Maybe. Or a nurse like my mom. Or maybe both." "Why not both?" Warren said seriously. "You can be anything you want to be." Nicole felt her heart squeeze. This man was taking her daughter seriously, treating her thoughts and dreams as important. So many people talk down to kids but not Warren. The server came by and they ordered burgers and milkshakes. Simple, delicious, perfect. "So," Warren said, turning to Nicole, "how was the rest of your first week?" "Busy but good. I'm getting the hang of the computer system. The patients are wonderful." "She's being modest," Tessa interjected. "Mom is the best nurse ever. She makes everyone feel better." "I believe it," Warren said, his eyes on Nicole. "You have that gift." Nicole felt herself blush. "You're both giving me too much credit." "Impossible," Warren and Tessa said at the same time, then laughed. The food arrived and they ate while swapping stories. Warren told them about his grandmother's latest scheme to redecorate his house. Tessa shared playground drama involving stolen erasers and hurt feelings. Nicole talked about a patient who'd brought cookies for the whole staff. It felt easy. Natural. Like they'd been doing this for years instead of days. After dinner they drove to a nearby arcade. Tessa's eyes went wide at all the flashing lights and games. "Can we play?" she asked, bouncing on her toes. "That's why we're here," Warren said, handing her a card loaded with tokens. "Go crazy." For the next 2 hours they played everything. Skee-ball, racing games, the claw machine. Warren won Tessa a stuffed penguin on his third try, earning hero status. Nicole surprised them both by dominating at air hockey. "Where did you learn that?" Warren asked, laughing as she scored the winning point. "College. I was the dormitory champion. Competitive, I like it." They cashed in their tickets for prizes. Tessa chose a kit to make slime, some candy, and a small notebook. She was literally vibrating with happiness. As they walked back to the car, Tessa grabbed both their hands, swinging between them. "This was the best day ever," she announced. Warren looked at Nicole over Tessa's head, and something passed between them. A recognition. A possibility. When they pulled up to the apartment, Ruth was waiting on the porch despite the late hour. "Grandma." Tessa ran up the stairs. "Look what we won. And Mr. Mitchell got me this book about space. Sounds like you had quite an adventure." Ruth smiled at Warren and Nicole as they climbed the stairs. "Come in for some coffee?" "I should get going," Warren said. "But thank you." "Nonsense. Come in for a few minutes." Inside, Tessa showed Ruth all her prizes while Nicole made coffee. Warren sat at the small kitchen table, looking completely at ease in their humble home. "Your apartment is lovely," he said when Nicole brought the mugs. "It's small. It's a home. That's what matters." Ruth took Tessa to get ready for bed, leaving Warren and Nicole alone at the table. "Thank you for tonight," Nicole said quietly. "Tessa hasn't been that happy in a long time. What about you?" "Me? Were you happy?" Nicole met his eyes. "Yes, very happy." Warren reached across the table and took her hand. "Good. Because I'd like to do this again. And again. As many times as you'll let me." "Warren, I need to be honest with you about something." "Okay." Nicole took a deep breath. "I'm not looking for someone to fix my life. You've already done more than I can ever repay. If we're going to do this, whatever this is, I need to know you see me as an equal. Not a project." "Nicole, I've never seen you as a project." Warren's grip on her hand tightened slightly. "I see you as someone strong, capable, and incredible who happened to be in a tough situation. The fact that I could help doesn't diminish your strength. It just means you don't have to carry everything alone anymore." "I'm scared," she admitted. "I haven't dated anyone since James. I don't even know how to do this." "I don't either. I'm terrible at relationships if my track record is any indication." Warren smiled ruefully. "But I'd like to figure it out together. No pressure. No expectations. Just two people spending time together and seeing where it goes." "And Tessa?" "I care about Tessa. A lot. She's special. But I want you to know that even if things don't work out romantically between us, I'll always be here for both of you. The job, the friendship, all of it is real regardless of what happens with us personally." Nicole felt something loosen in her chest. The fear she'd been carrying, the worry that accepting help meant giving up her independence, started to ease. "Okay," she said. "Let's see where this goes." Warren's smile was brilliant. Yeah. He stood and she walked him to the door. On the porch, under the glow of the streetlight, he turned to face her. "Can I kiss you?" he asked softly. Nicole's heart hammered. "Yes." Warren cupped her face gently and kissed her. It was sweet and careful and perfect. When they pulled apart, Nicole was smiling. "Good night, Nicole." "Good night, Warren." She watched him drive away, then went inside to find Ruth and Tessa peeking through the curtains. "You kissed him," Tessa whisper shouted. "Tessa Marie Harper, were you spying?" "Only a little bit." "Was it romantic?" Nicole pulled her daughter into a hug. "Yes, baby. It was romantic." "Good. Because I think he's going to be my new dad." Nicole's breath caught. "Tessa, we're just dating. It's very new." "I know. But I can tell. He loves you. And he loves me. I can see it in his eyes." Ruth wrapped her arms around both of them. Out of the mouths of babes. That night, Nicole lay in bed thinking about the evening. About Warren's kindness to Tessa. About the easy way they'd talked and laughed. About that perfect kiss. For so long she'd been focused on survival. On getting through each day. On being strong for Tessa. But maybe it was okay to let someone in. Maybe it was okay to lean on someone who wanted to be leaned on. Her phone buzzed. A text from Warren. "Thank you for a perfect evening. Sweet dreams." She typed back, "Thank you for making my daughter so happy." "And me too. Sweet dreams." As Nicole drifted off to sleep, she thought about James. About the love they'd shared. About how he'd want her to be happy. And she felt, for the first time since his death, that it was okay to move forward. That loving someone new didn't mean forgetting the past. It just meant being brave enough to believe in the future. Sunday afternoon, Warren sat in his grandmother's garden while Margaret served tea with the precision of someone who'd perfected the ritual over decades. "So," she said, settling into her chair with a knowing smile. "You took Nicole and Tessa to dinner. You already know that. Ruth called you, didn't she?" "She might have mentioned it." Margaret's eyes twinkled. "She also mentioned a kiss on the porch." Warren groaned. "Is nothing private?" "Not when two old women are playing matchmaker, dear boy. Now tell me everything." So he did. About the dinner, the arcade, the easy way Tessa had held both their hands. About Nicole's concerns about being seen as a project. About that kiss that had felt like coming home. Margaret listened, occasionally sipping her tea, her expression pleased. "You're falling in love with her," she said when he finished. "It's too soon to call it that." "Is it?" "You've been looking for someone real your whole adult life. Now you've found her and you're hesitating." Warren set down his teacup. "Grandma, there's something I need to know. Ruth mentioned you were her patient. That you knew about Nicole's situation. Did you set this up knowing what she was going through?" Margaret didn't look the least bit guilty. "Yes. That's manipulative." That's caring about people. She leaned forward. Warren, I met Nicole 3 years ago when Ruth was taking care of me after my hip surgery. Nicole would sometimes come with her mother to help. She was newly widowed, devastated, but still so gentle with me. We talked for hours while Ruth worked. You never mentioned her. Because you weren't ready to hear about her. You were dating that awful Vanessa woman who only cared about your bank account. Margaret wrinkled her nose. But I never forgot Nicole. How could I? She's everything you need. Strong, kind, real. So you've been planning this for 3 years? Planning is such a harsh word. I prefer orchestrating. Margaret smiled. When Ruth called me last month and told me how bad things had gotten for Nicole, I knew it was time. You needed someone to remind you what matters. She needed someone who could ease her burden. Tessa needed a father figure. Grandma, you can't just arrange people's lives like chess pieces. Why not? It's working, isn't it? Warren couldn't argue with that. What if I mess this up? What if I'm not what they need? Warren Mitchell, you listen to me. Margaret's voice turned serious. You are kind, generous, and loyal. You built a company from nothing. You take care of your employees like family. The only thing you've been missing is someone to share your life with. I'm not perfect. No one is. Nicole doesn't need perfect. She needs present. She needs someone who shows up and stays. Margaret reached over and patted his hand. Besides, Tessa has already decided you're going to be her new father. That child has excellent judgment. Warren laughed despite himself. She told her mother that last night. See? Trust the child. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, the late afternoon sun filtering through the trees. Tell me about James, Warren said finally. Nicole's husband. What was he like? Margaret's expression softened. I only met him once, but Ruth talked about him often. He was a good man. Hardworking, devoted to his family. The accident devastated them all. Do you think Nicole's ready to move on? I think Nicole has been ready for a while but didn't feel like she had permission to be. You're giving her that permission by being patient and kind. I really like her, Grandma. More than I've liked anyone in a long time. I know, dear. That's why I brought you together. Warren shook his head, but he was smiling. You're incorrigible. I'm effective. There's a difference. When Warren left an hour later, his grandmother's words echoed in his mind. Show up and stay. That's what Nicole needed. That's what Tessa needed. And honestly, that's what he needed too. Monday morning at the clinic, Nicole was surprised to find a small gift on her desk. A framed photo of her, Warren, and Tessa from the arcade, all three of them laughing at something outside the frame. She didn't remember anyone taking this photo. Sandra got it, Janet said, appearing at her elbow. Warren asked her to capture some moments from your evening. He wanted you to have it. Nicole traced the image with her finger. They looked like a family. He's a good man, Janet continued. In all the years I've worked here, I've never seen him this happy. We've only been on one date. Sometimes that's all it takes to know. The morning flew by with patient appointments. Nicole was checking medication orders when Warren appeared at the nurse's station. Got a minute? He asked. They walked to the break room, which was mercifully empty. I wanted to tell you something, Warren said, looking nervous. My grandmother told me yesterday that she's known about you for 3 years. That she's been planning to introduce us since then. Nicole's eyes widened. 3 years. She was your mother's patient. You helped take care of her sometimes. Memory clicked into place. Mrs. Mitchell. The hip surgery. I remember her. Nicole sat down slowly. She planned this whole thing? I'm afraid so. I wanted you to know in case that changes how you feel about us. I don't want you to think this is all manipulation. Nicole was quiet for a moment, processing. Then she started to laugh. What's so funny? Warren asked, confused. Your grandmother and my mother. They've been scheming for 3 years to get us together. That's either really sweet or really intrusive. I'm going with sweet, Warren said hopefully. Me too. Nicole stood and took his hand. Warren, I don't care how we met. I care about who you are. And you've been nothing but kind and genuine. So if your grandmother wants to take credit for bringing us together, let her. Maybe we needed someone to push us in the right direction. Warren pulled her into a hug. You're amazing, you know that? I'm practical. There's a difference. They stood there for a moment, then Nicole pulled back. I should get back to work. But thank you for telling me. Honesty matters. Always. That evening, Nicole invited Margaret Mitchell to dinner at their apartment. The older woman arrived with flowers and a homemade pie, greeting Ruth like an old friend and Tessa like a beloved granddaughter. Mrs. Mitchell, Nicole said as they settled around the small dining table. I hear you've been playing matchmaker. Margaret had the grace to look slightly sheepish. I suppose Ruth told you everything. Everything, Ruth confirmed with a grin. Well, I won't apologize. You two needed each other, and sometimes people need a little push. A little push? Nicole laughed. You orchestrated an entire blind date ambush using my 7-year-old daughter. And it worked beautifully, Margaret said primly. Tessa giggled. I like you, Grandma Margaret. You're sneaky. Thank you, dear. I try. Over dinner, the four of them talked like old friends. Margaret shared stories about Warren as a boy, making Tessa laugh with tales of his mischief. Ruth contributed Nicole's childhood stories, much to Nicole's embarrassment. She once tried to give the neighbor's cat a bath, Ruth said. Ended up soaked and scratched, but she was so proud of herself. Mom, that cat needed a bath. The cat disagreed. After dinner, while Tessa showed Margaret her space book, Nicole and Ruth cleaned up in the kitchen. That woman is a force of nature, Nicole said quietly. She is. But she cares deeply. Everything she did was out of love. I know. Nicole dried a plate thoughtfully. Is it weird that I'm grateful? A month ago I was drowning. Now I have a good job, a man who makes me smile, and apparently 2 scheming grandmothers looking out for us. Ruth hugged her daughter. Not weird at all. Sometimes blessings come in unexpected packages. Before Margaret left, she pulled Nicole aside. My grandson is falling in love with you, she said bluntly. I can see it in his eyes. But he's cautious because he doesn't want to pressure you. I'm falling for him too, Nicole admitted. It scares me. Good. The best things in life are scary. Margaret squeezed Nicole's hand. All I ask is that you give him a real chance. Don't let fear keep you from happiness. I won't. I promise. That night, after everyone had left, Nicole tucked Tessa into bed. I like having so many grandmas, Tessa said sleepily. Grandma Ruth and now Grandma Margaret. They do seem to enjoy spoiling you. Do you think Mr. Warren will be my dad soon? Nicole's heart clenched. Would you like that? More than anything. He's nice to you. He makes you happy. And he listens when I talk about space and science and stuff. Those are pretty good reasons. Plus he really loves you, Mom. I can tell. How can you tell? The way he looks at you. Like you're the most special person in the world. Tessa yawned. That's how Daddy used to look at you. It means real love. Nicole's eyes filled with tears. You're pretty smart for 7. I know. Good night, Mom. Good night, baby. As Nicole closed Tessa's door, her phone buzzed. A text from Warren. My grandmother informed me that she invited herself to your dinner and interrogated you. I apologize for her complete lack of boundaries. Nicole smiled and typed back. She's wonderful. So is this whole ridiculous matchmaking scheme. Thank you for being honest about it. Thank you for not running away screaming. Dinner Friday? Just the 2 of us this time? I'd love that. Nicole fell asleep that night thinking about second chances and meddling grandmothers and the way Warren's eyes crinkled when he smiled. Sometimes she thought the best things in life came when you least expected them. And sometimes they came because 2 wise old women decided to play matchmaker. Either way, she was grateful. Friday evening found Nicole standing in front of her mirror once again, but this time the nerves felt different. Excited rather than anxious. Warren was taking her to a nice restaurant downtown, just the 2 of them. Ruth had eagerly agreed to watch Tessa, who'd helped Nicole pick out the perfect outfit. A simple green dress that hugged her curves and made her feel beautiful. You look like a princess, Tessa declared from the doorway. I feel overdressed. You look perfect. Ruth appeared behind Tessa. Now go. Have fun. Don't worry about us. Warren arrived exactly on time, dressed in a dark suit that made Nicole's mouth go dry. He held a single red rose. You're beautiful, he said softly. You clean up pretty well yourself. In the car they chatted easily about their weeks. Warren told her about a new contract his company had landed. Nicole shared a funny story about a patient who'd brought his pet parrot to an appointment. The restaurant was elegant but not stuffy, with soft lighting and quiet music. Their table overlooked the river, the city lights reflecting on the water. This is lovely, Nicole said as they settled in. I wanted tonight to be special. Warren reached across the table and took her hand. Nicole, we've been dancing around something for weeks now. I think it's time we talked about it. Nicole's heart rate picked up. Okay. I like you. More than like you. I think about you constantly. I look for excuses to stop by the clinic just to see you. I lay awake at night imagining a future with you and Tessa. He paused. But I need to know where your head is. Are you ready for this? Really ready? Nicole took a deep breath. This was it. The moment of truth. After James died, I thought I'd never feel this way about anyone again, she began. I loved him so much. We were going to grow old together, watch Tessa graduate, become grandparents. When he died, it felt like my future died with him. Warren's grip on her hand tightened, supportive. For 3 years I've been in survival mode. Every day was about making it to the next day. I couldn't even think about dating or romance or any of that. It felt like a betrayal. I understand. But then your grandmother meddled and Tessa crashed your blind date and suddenly there you were. This kind, generous, genuine man who saw me. Not the struggling widow. Not the charity case. Just me. Nicole felt tears forming. You make me laugh. You make Tessa light up. You make me feel like maybe I deserve good things again. You do deserve good things. I'm scared, Warren. I'm scared of losing someone again. I'm scared of Tessa getting attached and then being hurt if this doesn't work out. I'm scared that I'm too damaged, too complicated, too much baggage. Warren stood and came around the table, kneeling beside her chair. Several other diners glanced over curiously. Nicole Harper, you listen to me. You are not damaged. You are strong. You survived something that would have broken most people. You raised an incredible daughter while working 3 jobs. You have more courage in your little finger than I have in my whole body. Warren, people are staring. Let them stare. He cupped her face gently. I'm falling in love with you. Maybe I've already fallen. And yes, that's terrifying. Yes, life has no guarantees. But I'd rather take the risk with you than play it safe with anyone else. Nicole let the tears fall. I'm falling for you too. So much it scares me. Then let's be scared together. She laughed through her tears. That's the worst romantic line I've ever heard. I never claimed to be smooth. Warren wiped her tears with his thumbs. But I am sincere. Give us a real chance, Nicole. Let me love you. Let me love Tessa. Let me be part of your family. Okay, she whispered. Yes. Let's do this. Warren kissed her right there in the restaurant, not caring who was watching. When they pulled apart, several nearby tables applauded. Nicole buried her face in Warren's shoulder, embarrassed but laughing. We're making a scene, she said. Best scene I've ever made. They returned to their meal with new energy, talking about everything and nothing. Nicole told him about her dreams of becoming a nurse practitioner. Warren shared his plans to expand the company. They talked about Tessa's education, about travel, about all the possibilities stretching out before them. Can I ask you about James? Warren said during dessert. Nicole tensed slightly, then relaxed. Of course. What was he like? She smiled, memories flooding back. He was funny. Always making jokes, even in serious situations. He loved building things with his hands. Our apartment still has little fixes he did, shelves he put up. He adored Tessa. She was only 4 when he died, but he was such a good father. I'm glad she had that, even if it was too short. Me too. Nicole paused. You should know I'll always love him. He'll always be part of my story. I wouldn't want it any other way. He gave you Tessa. He helped make you who you are. I respect that. Nicole reached across and squeezed Warren's hand. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for trusting me with your heart. After dinner, they walked along the river. The night was cool but pleasant, the city alive with Friday evening energy. Tell me something about yourself that I don't know, Nicole said. I'm terrified of birds. Nicole stopped walking. Birds? Really? When I was 6, a goose attacked me at the park. Traumatizing experience. I've been wary ever since. She laughed so hard she had to lean against him for support. A big, successful businessman afraid of birds. Mock me all you want. That goose was vicious. I'm not mocking. It's endearing. They found a bench overlooking the water and sat close together. What about you? Warren asked. Tell me something I don't know. I can't whistle. Never learned how. That's adorable. It's frustrating. Tessa can whistle. Even my mother can whistle. But me? Nothing. Warren turned to face her. Nicole, I want you to know something. Whatever happens with us, you're not alone anymore. Even if we're just friends, I'm here. For you and for Tessa. Always. That means everything to me. He kissed her again, slow and sweet, and Nicole felt something shift inside her. The last wall around her heart crumbling. Are you rooting for Nicole and Warren? Do you believe in second chances at love? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more heartwarming moments. When Warren drove her home, they sat in his car outside her apartment building, neither wanting the night to end. Thank you for tonight, Nicole said. Thank you for saying yes to all of it. Warren, I need to talk to Tessa about us. About where this is heading. She already thinks you're going to be her new dad, but I want to make sure she understands what's happening. Of course. Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. One more kiss, and then Nicole floated up the stairs to her apartment. Ruth and Tessa were on the couch watching a movie. How was it? Tessa asked, bouncing up. It was perfect. Did he kiss you again? Tessa. What? I'm just asking. Ruth laughed. Let your mother breathe, child. She'll tell us everything when she's ready. But Nicole sat down and did tell them everything. About Warren's declaration, about her own fears and hopes, about the decision to really try. I'm so happy for you, baby, Ruth said, hugging her tight. Tessa climbed into Nicole's lap. Does this mean Mr. Warren is your boyfriend now? Yes, I think it does. Good. Because I already told my friends at school that I was getting a new dad. Tessa Marie, what did I tell you about getting ahead of yourself? That it's better to ask forgiveness than permission? Ruth burst out laughing. That's not what we said, and you know it. But Nicole was laughing too, pulling her daughter close. You're impossible. I'm hopeful. There's a difference. That night, as Nicole got ready for bed, she looked at the photo on her nightstand. Her wedding photo, her and James so young and in love. I'm moving forward, she whispered to the image. I hope that's okay. I hope you'd like him. I think you would. She could almost hear James's voice in her head, the teasing tone he'd always used. About time. Don't keep the poor guy waiting. Nicole smiled through her tears and turned out the light. Tomorrow was a new day. A new chapter. And for the first time in 3 years she was ready to write it. 3 months passed in a blur of happiness. Warren became a regular fixture in their lives, joining them for dinners, helping with homework, attending Tessa's school events. He'd never missed a single thing that mattered to them. Nicole thrived at work, already taking evening classes toward her nurse practitioner certification. Warren's tuition reimbursement made it possible, and his encouragement made it feel achievable. On a bright Saturday morning in early spring, Warren picked them up for a surprise trip. He wouldn't tell them where they were going, just asked them to dress comfortably. Are we going to the zoo? Tessa guessed. Nope. The science museum? Wrong again. The moon? Warren laughed. Not quite that far. An hour later they pulled up to a beautiful house in the suburbs. It was a 2-story home with a blue exterior, a big yard, and a porch perfect for sitting on summer evenings. Why are we here? Nicole asked. I'm thinking of buying it. Wanted your opinion. Nicole's heart stuttered. Warren, this is huge. Why would you need such a big house? Well, I was hoping it wouldn't be just for me. He took her hand. I know we've only been together a few months. I know this is fast. But Nicole, I want a future with you. With both of you. And I wanted you to see this place, see if you could imagine living here. With me. Tessa squealed. We get to live in this house? Maybe if your mom agrees. Nicole looked at the house, then at Warren, then at Tessa's hopeful face. Can we look inside first? The realtor met them at the door. The house was perfect. 4 bedrooms, a spacious kitchen, a backyard with room for a swing set. Everything Nicole had ever dreamed of. In what could be Tessa's room, her daughter spun in circles. Mom, look. It's huge. I could fit my whole book collection in here. Warren stood in the doorway with Nicole. What do you think? I think it's beautiful. But Warren, this is too much. I can't let you buy us a house. You're not letting me do anything. I want to build a life with you here. I want Tessa to have her own space, a yard to play in. I want you to come home from work to somewhere comfortable and safe. We haven't even talked about marriage. Then let's talk about it. Warren took both her hands. Nicole, I love you. I love Tessa. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to help with homework and attend school plays and grow old together. What do you say? Tessa appeared at Nicole's elbow. Mom, say yes. Please say yes. Nicole looked between them, her heart so full it might burst. This is crazy. The best things usually are. I need time to think. Take all the time you need. The house isn't going anywhere. On the drive home, Tessa chattered nonstop about which room would be hers, where they'd put the Christmas tree, how big a dog they could get. We haven't agreed to anything yet, Nicole reminded her. But you will. I know you will. That night, after Tessa was asleep, Nicole called her mother. He wants to buy us a house, she said without preamble. And it's too fast. We've only been dating 3 months. Do you love him? Yes. Does he love you? He says he does. Does he treat you well? Treat Tessa well? Better than I could have imagined. Then what's the problem, baby? Nicole sighed. I'm scared I'm rushing into this because it's convenient, because it solves my problems. What if I'm not really in love? What if I'm just grateful? Nicole Harper, you listen to me. I've watched you with that man for 3 months. I've seen the way you light up when he calls. The way you smile when you talk about him. The way you two look at each other like you're the only people in the room. That's not gratitude. That's love. How do you know? Because I've seen you in love before. With James. And this is different, yes, but it's just as real. Nicole felt tears on her cheeks. What if something happens to him too? Then you'll survive it like you survived before. But Nicole, you can't live your life afraid of loss. You'll miss all the joy that way. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You just notice more when you're in love. The next day was Sunday, and Warren had planned a picnic in the park with Tessa. It had become their routine these Sunday afternoons together. As they spread out the blanket and unpacked sandwiches, Tessa grew uncharacteristically quiet. What's on your mind, sweetheart? Warren asked. Tessa fiddled with her juice box. Can I ask you something? Anything. Do you love my mom for real? Not because you feel sorry for us. Warren set down his sandwich and gave Tessa his full attention. Tessa, I love your mom because she's kind, strong, smart, and beautiful. I love her laugh and the way she cares about people. I love how hard she works and how much she loves you. None of that has anything to do with feeling sorry for anyone. And do you love me? Warren's eyes got suspiciously shiny. I love you very much. You're smart, brave, funny, and you have the biggest heart of anyone I know. Good. Tessa took a deep breath. Because I've been wishing for something. Ever since my dad died, I've wished for someone to love my mom and take care of us. And then you showed up and it was like magic. Nicole reached over and squeezed her daughter's hand. I want you to be my dad, Tessa continued, her voice wobbling. I know you're not my real dad. I know my real dad is in heaven. But I want you to be my earth dad. Is that okay? Warren pulled Tessa into his lap, holding her tight. That would be the greatest honor of my life. Tessa wrapped her arms around his neck and cried. Happy tears this time. Nicole watched them, her heart breaking and healing at the same time. There's something I want to ask both of you, Warren said when Tessa had calmed down. Something important. He set Tessa down and got on one knee. From his pocket he pulled 2 small boxes. Nicole's hand flew to her mouth. Nicole Harper, you walked into my life when I didn't even know I was lonely. You showed me what it means to be brave, to work hard, to love unconditionally. You make every day brighter just by being in it. Will you marry me? He opened the first box to reveal a beautiful but simple diamond ring. Before Nicole could answer, Warren turned to Tessa and opened the second box. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet with a small heart charm. Tessa Harper, will you let me be your dad? Will you let me take care of you and your mom for the rest of my life? Tessa nodded so hard her whole body shook. Yes, yes, yes. Warren slipped the bracelet on her wrist, then looked up at Nicole. What do you say? Nicole looked at her daughter's joyful face. At Warren's hopeful eyes. At the life stretching out before them, full of possibility. She thought about James, about how he'd want her to be happy. About how life was short and precious and you had to grab joy when it appeared. Yes, she said through tears. Yes, I'll marry you. Warren stood and slipped the ring on her finger, then pulled both her and Tessa into a hug. They stood there in the middle of the park, crying and laughing and holding each other. Other people in the park started clapping. Someone shouted congratulations. We're making another scene, Nicole said, laughing. I'm excellent at making scenes with you. Tessa pulled back and looked at her bracelet, then at her mother's ring. Does this mean we get to live in the big blue house? It means we get to live wherever we want as a family, Warren said. Then I vote for the big blue house. Nicole kissed the top of Tessa's head, then kissed Warren. The big blue house it is. That evening they drove to Ruth's house to share the news. Warren had already called his grandmother, who'd promised to meet them there. When they walked in with matching grins, Ruth took one look at Nicole's hand and burst into tears. Oh, baby girl. I'm so happy for you. Margaret arrived minutes later with champagne and sparkling cider. The 5 of them toasted to new beginnings, to love, to family. I knew it, Margaret said smugly. Didn't I tell you, Ruth? Didn't I say these two were perfect for each other? You did. You absolutely did. Tessa held up her bracelet. And Mr. Warren is going to be my new dad. My earth dad. Margaret and Ruth exchanged misty-eyed looks. Come here, sweet girl, Margaret said, pulling Tessa into a hug. You're getting the best earth dad in the whole world. Later, when the excitement had settled and Tessa had fallen asleep on Ruth's couch, the four adults sat in the kitchen. "Have you set a date?" Ruth asked. "Not yet," Nicole said. "We just got engaged an hour ago." "Don't wait too long," Margaret advised. "Life is short. Grab happiness while you can." Warren squeezed Nicole's hand. "What do you think? Long engagement or short?" Nicole thought about all the years she'd waited, all the struggling, all the lonely nights. She thought about how right this felt, how certain she was. "Short," she said. "I don't want to wait any more." Music to my ears. They decided on a date 3 months away. Small ceremony, close friends and family, nothing fancy. Just a celebration of love. As they drove home that night, Tessa asleep in the back seat, Warren reached over and took Nicole's hand. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For what?" "For taking a chance on me. For letting me into your lives. For making me the happiest man alive. Thank you for showing up. For staying. For loving us. Always." Nicole looked at her ring in the passing streetlights, then back at her daughter in the rearview mirror, then at the man beside her. Her family. Her future. Her second chance. Sometimes wishes came true in the most unexpected ways. And sometimes, love found you when you weren't even looking. The weeks leading up to the wedding flew by in a whirlwind of planning and preparation. Nicole insisted on keeping things simple, but Margaret and Ruth had other ideas. "Just a small cake," Nicole would say. "Of course, dear," they'd respond, then order a 3-tier masterpiece. Warren watched it all with amusement, content to let the women plan while he focused on other things. Like finding the perfect rings. Like making sure the house was ready for his new family. Like learning to braid Tessa's hair because she'd mentioned wanting him to do it sometimes. 2 weeks before the wedding, Warren picked up Tessa from school. It had become part of their routine on days when Nicole had evening classes. "Can we stop for ice cream?" Tessa asked as she buckled her seatbelt. "Ice cream before dinner? Your mom would kill me. Please? I got an A on my science test. That deserves ice cream. But we're not telling your mom. Deal?" At the ice cream shop, they sat at their usual table by the window. Tessa ordered mint chocolate chip. Warren got vanilla because he was, as Tessa liked to remind him, boring. "Can I ask you something?" Tessa said, attacking her cone with enthusiasm. "Always. After you marry Mom, do I get to call you Dad?" Warren's heart squeezed. "You can call me whatever feels right to you. Dad, Warren, Mr. Warren, anything you want." Tessa considered this carefully. "I think Dad feels right. Is that okay?" "More than okay. It's perfect." "Good." She took another lick of her ice cream. "I've been practicing in my head. Like, Dad, can you help me with my homework? And, Dad, look what I made at school." Warren had to set down his cone because his hands were shaking with emotion. "Tessa, you've given me such a gift. You and your mom both. I want you to know that. You're the gift. You saved us." "No, sweetheart. You saved me. I was so lonely before I met you." Tessa reached across the table and patted his hand, a gesture so adult it made Warren smile through his tears. "It's okay to be sad sometimes," she said wisely. "Mom says sadness just means you have a big heart with room for big feelings. Your mom is very smart." "I know. That's why you're marrying her." They finished their ice cream and were heading back to the car when Tessa suddenly stopped. "Oh no. What's wrong?" "I'm supposed to give a speech at the wedding. In front of everyone. I forgot about that." Warren knelt down to her level. "You don't have to give a speech if you don't want to. But I do want to. I have things I want to say. I'm just scared I'll mess it up. How about we practice? You can practice on me and I'll help you get comfortable." Tessa's face lit up. "Really? Really?" They spent the drive home with Tessa practicing her speech. She'd written it herself and it was beautiful. Funny and sweet and so heartfelt that Warren had to pull over twice because he was crying too hard to see the road. "I think your speech is perfect," he said when they pulled up to the apartment. "You're not just saying that?" "I'm definitely not just saying that. But Tessa, remember, everyone there loves you. Even if you forget a word or get nervous, it's okay. We're all on your side." "Thanks, Dad." It was the first time she'd said it out loud, not as a practice or a question. Just simply, naturally, "Dad." Warren had to sit in the car for 5 minutes after she went inside, crying happy tears. The day before the wedding, Warren's business partner insisted on throwing him a small bachelor party. Just a quiet dinner with a few friends, nothing wild. "You're really doing this," his friend Thomas said, raising a glass. "Settling down with a widow and her kid." Warren bristled at the tone. "I'm marrying the love of my life and becoming a father to an amazing little girl." Yes, I'm really doing this. I didn't mean it like that, man. I just mean it's fast. When you know, you know. Another friend, Patrick, jumped in. He's right. I've seen Warren with them. I've never seen him this happy. Thanks, Patrick. The evening continued pleasantly, but Warren was relieved when it ended. He wasn't interested in bachelor party traditions or last nights of freedom. He wanted to get to tomorrow, to the moment when Nicole would become his wife. That night, following tradition, he stayed at his grandmother's house while Nicole and Tessa stayed at their apartment. Nervous? Margaret asked as they sat in her living room. Not about marrying Nicole. Just about doing this right. Being a good husband and father. Warren, you've already proven yourself. Look at how Tessa lights up around you. Look at how Nicole smiles now compared to 6 months ago. You're doing everything right. I just want them to be happy. They are happy. Because of you. Margaret pulled out a small box. This was your grandfather's. He gave it to me on our wedding day. Inside was a simple gold pocket watch engraved with the words, "Love is patient. Love is kind." I want you to have it. To remember that marriage isn't always easy, but it's always worth it if you choose each other every day. Warren hugged his grandmother tight. Thank you. For everything. For bringing us together. Just make her happy, dear boy. That's all I ask. That's all I want. Meanwhile, across town, Nicole sat with her mother and daughter, her own pre-wedding nerves making her fidgety. What if I trip walking down the aisle? She fretted. You won't, Ruth said calmly. What if I forget my vows? You won't. What if this is all moving too fast and I'm making a huge mistake? Tessa looked up from the book she was reading. Mom, you're spiraling. Nicole laughed despite herself. I am, aren't I? You love Warren. He loves you. He loves me. We're going to be a family. It's going to be perfect. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You just notice more when you're panicking. Ruth pulled Nicole close. Baby girl, tomorrow you're marrying a good man who adores you. Stop worrying and start celebrating. You're right. I know you're right. That night, as Nicole lay in bed, she thought about the journey that had brought her here. The loss, the struggle, the moment when Tessa had walked into that restaurant and changed everything. She thought about Warren's kindness, his patience, his love for both of them. She thought about James and whispered to his memory, I hope you'd approve. I think you'd like him. He's good to our daughter. He's good to me. I'll always love you, but I'm ready for this next chapter. The morning of the wedding dawned bright and clear. Nicole woke to Tessa bouncing on her bed. It's wedding day. Wedding day. I'm aware, Nicole said laughing. Ruth appeared with coffee and breakfast. You need your strength for today. The ceremony was at a small garden venue, intimate and beautiful. Margaret had insisted on paying for everything, and for once, Nicole hadn't argued too hard. As Nicole got dressed in her simple white dress, she felt surprisingly calm. No more nerves. Just anticipation. Ruth helped with her hair while Tessa watched, already dressed in her blue flower girl dress. You look like a princess, Mom. Thank you, baby. So do you. There was a knock at the door. Warren wasn't allowed to see her yet, but he'd sent something. It was a letter delivered by his assistant. My dearest Nicole, it read. In a few hours you'll be my wife. I can hardly believe my luck. Thank you for taking a chance on a lonely businessman who didn't know what he was missing until he met you and Tessa. I promise to love you both, honor you both, and cherish every moment we have together. Forever yours, Warren. Nicole pressed the letter to her heart, tears threatening her carefully applied makeup. Happy tears only, Ruth commanded. We don't have time for touch-ups. The ceremony was everything Nicole had dreamed of. Small, intimate, filled with love. Warren stood at the altar in a dark suit, his eyes locked on Nicole the moment she appeared. Tessa walked ahead of her, scattering flower petals with serious concentration. When Nicole reached Warren, he took both her hands. You're beautiful, he whispered. So are you. The officiant began, but Nicole barely heard the words. She was too focused on Warren's face, on the love she saw there, on the future stretching out before them. They exchanged traditional vows, then Warren added his own. Nicole, you taught me what it means to be brave. To open my heart even when it's scary. I promise to be the partner you deserve, the father Tessa needs, and the man who loves you both every single day of our lives. Nicole's voice shook as she responded. Warren, you gave me hope when I thought I'd lost it. You gave Tessa a father when she needed one most. I promise to love you, trust you, and build a beautiful life with you. The rings? The officiant asked. Tessa stepped forward, carrying the pillow with both wedding bands. She'd taken her job very seriously, practicing her walk for days. Warren slipped the ring on Nicole's finger. "With this ring I thee wed." Nicole did the same. "With this ring I thee wed. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." Warren pulled Nicole close and kissed her as their guests cheered. When they pulled apart, Tessa was right there. "My turn," she declared. Warren scooped her up and the three of them hugged, a perfect picture of their new family. At the reception, Tessa gave her speech. She stood on a chair so everyone could see her. "When my dad died, I was really sad. Mom was sad too, but she tried to hide it. She worked really hard to take care of me and I thought we'd always be just us two." The room was silent, everyone listening to this brave little girl. But then Grandma Margaret had a plan. "And even though Mom doesn't know this, I helped too. I went to meet Warren at that restaurant because I knew Mom needed someone to love her. And I was right. Warren is the best Earth dad I could ask for. He helps with my homework, takes us for ice cream and makes Mom smile again. So thank you, Warren, for finding us. And thank you, Mom, for letting him stay. I love you both so much." There wasn't a dry eye in the house. Warren stood and hugged Tessa tight. "Thank you, sweetheart. I love you too." The rest of the reception was filled with laughter, dancing and joy. Ruth and Margaret sat together, looking smug and satisfied with their matchmaking success. As the evening wound down, Nicole and Warren stood on the terrace, watching the sunset. "We did it," Nicole said. "We did. How does it feel to be Mrs. Mitchell?" "Perfect. Absolutely perfect." Warren pulled her close. "Ready for our next adventure?" "With you?" "Always." Inside, Tessa was showing her new bracelet to anyone who would look, telling them all about her new dad. And somewhere Nicole liked to think James was smiling down on them all. 6 months later, the big blue house had become a home. Tessa's room was filled with books and science posters. The kitchen smelled like Nicole's pot roast most Sundays. Warren's home office had pictures of his family on every surface. They'd settled into a rhythm. Warren would make breakfast while Nicole got ready for work. Tessa would chat about her day over dinner. Evenings were for homework help, movie nights, or just sitting together reading. It was ordinary and extraordinary all at once. One Saturday morning, Nicole woke to find Warren already up, staring out the bedroom window. "Everything okay?" she asked, wrapping her arms around him from behind. "More than okay. I was just thinking about how different my life is now. A year ago, I was alone in that empty house. Now I have you. I have Tessa. I have a family." "Getting sentimental on me, Mr. Mitchell?" "Maybe a little, Mrs. Mitchell." Downstairs, they found Tessa at the kitchen table with construction paper and markers, working intently on something. "What are you making?" Nicole asked. "A family tree for school. We have to present it next week." Tessa held up her work proudly. On the paper, she'd drawn a tree with branches. At the top was a separate branch labeled, "My Heaven Dad, James Harper." Below were 3 connected branches, "My Mom Nicole, My Earth Dad Warren, and Me Tessa." Around the edges were smaller branches for Ruth, Margaret, and other important people in their lives. "It's beautiful, sweetheart," Warren said, his voice thick. "Is it okay that I put my Heaven Dad on there too?" Tessa asked uncertainly. Nicole knelt beside her daughter. "It's more than okay. It's perfect. He'll always be part of our family tree." Warren looked at the drawing for a long moment. "Tessa, your dad would be so proud of you. And I'm honored to be your Earth Dad. I know you are. That's why I love you." Simple words from a child, but they carried the weight of the world. That afternoon, they drove to the cemetery. It was something they did occasionally, Nicole bringing fresh flowers to James's grave. This time Warren and Tessa came too. "You've never come before," Nicole said as they walked through the peaceful grounds. "I wanted to pay my respects. Tell him thank you." At the gravestone, Nicole placed flowers while Warren hung back respectfully. But Tessa tugged his hand. "You should come too. It's okay." Together, the 3 of them stood before James Harper's grave. "Hi, James," Nicole said softly. "I brought some people to meet you." "Well, officially meet you." Warren cleared his throat. "Mr. Harper, I'm Warren Mitchell. I married your wife 6 months ago and I'm raising your daughter. I want you to know that I see every day what an amazing man you must have been. Tessa is smart, kind, and brave because of you and Nicole. I promise to take care of them for the rest of my life. I promise to honor your memory and make sure Tessa knows about you." Tessa stepped forward and touched the cold stone. "Hi, Daddy. I hope you're not mad that I have a new dad. Warren is really nice. He loves Mom and he loves me. But I still love you too. I always will." Nicole couldn't stop the tears. Happy and sad all mixed together. They stood there in comfortable silence for a few minutes, then Tessa announced she was ready to go. On the drive home she was quiet in the back seat. "You okay, baby?" Nicole asked. "Yeah. I was just thinking. I'm really lucky." "How so?" "Most kids only get one dad. I get two. One in heaven watching over me and one on earth taking care of me. That makes me extra special." Warren had to pull over again, overcome with emotion. "You okay, Dad?" Tessa asked, using the name so naturally now. "I'm perfect, sweetheart. Absolutely perfect." That evening Ruth and Margaret came over for dinner. It had become a weekly tradition, these family dinners. Over Nicole's pot roast they talked about everything and nothing. Margaret shared gossip from her book club. Ruth talked about her garden. Tessa dominated the conversation with facts about black holes. "Did you know that if you fell into a black hole, you'd stretch like spaghetti?" she said enthusiastically. "Lovely dinner conversation," Margaret said dryly, but she was smiling. After dinner, while Nicole and the grandmothers cleaned up, Warren helped Tessa with a school project in the living room. "You're good at this dad thing," Ruth said, watching them through the doorway. "He really is," Nicole agreed. "Sometimes I can't believe this is my life." "Believe it, baby. You deserve every bit of this happiness." Margaret joined them at the sink. "You know what I love most? Seeing all of you together. You fit like puzzle pieces that were always meant to connect." "Thank you," Nicole said, hugging both older women. "Thank you for your meddling, your scheming, and your love." "Our pleasure," they said in unison. Later, after everyone had gone home and Tessa was in bed, Nicole and Warren sat on their back porch watching the stars. "Have you been happy?" Warren asked. "Really happy?" "Happier than I ever thought I'd be again." Nicole leaned against his shoulder. "You gave me my life back, Warren. You gave Tessa a father. You gave us a home. You gave me a purpose. A reason to come home every day. A family to love. We're pretty lucky, aren't we? The luckiest." They sat in comfortable silence, the kind that only comes from deep contentment. "Warren. Oh, I'm pregnant." Warren sat up so fast he nearly knocked Nicole over. "What?" Nicole laughed at his expression. "I found out today. We're going to have a baby." "A baby. We're having a baby." Warren's face split into the biggest smile she'd ever seen. "When?" "Oh. I mean, obviously I know how, but when did you find out?" "This morning. I've been waiting all day to tell you. I wanted the moment to be right." Warren pulled her into his lap, holding her close. "This is the rightest moment there's ever been. Oh my God, Nicole. We're having a baby. Are you happy?" Happy doesn't even begin to cover it. They sat there holding each other, imagining the future. "Baby. Tessa is a big sister. Their family growing. Should we tell Tessa?" Warren asked. "Tomorrow. Let's have tonight just for us." "Perfect." The next morning they sat Tessa down before school. "We have something to tell you," Nicole began. Tessa's eyes widened. "Are we getting a dog?" "Better than a dog." "A cat?" "Even better." "What's better than a cat?" "A hamster? A fish? A pony?" "Please tell me it's a pony." Warren laughed. "Not a pony. Tessa, you're going to be a big sister." Tessa's mouth dropped open. "A baby? We're getting a baby?" "In about 7 months, yes." Tessa screamed so loud the neighbors probably heard. She jumped up and down, then hugged both of them, then started planning. "We need to paint the nursery. And buy toys. And I need to teach the baby about science. Oh, and we need to read to the baby while it's still in mom's belly because that's important for brain development." "How do you know that?" Nicole asked. "I've been reading books about babies. Just in case." Warren shook his head in amazement. "You've been reading baby books?" "I wanted to be prepared. I'm going to be the best big sister ever." And she was. Over the next 7 months, Tessa talked to Nicole's growing belly every night, reading stories and singing songs. She helped Warren paint the nursery a cheerful yellow. She made lists of baby names and drew pictures for the baby's room. When Nicole went into labor on a bright spring morning, Tessa insisted on coming to the hospital. "I need to be there when my brother or sister arrives," she said firmly. Warren called Ruth and Margaret, who arrived within the hour. The whole family waited together in the hospital room, supporting Nicole through labor. When baby Emma finally arrived, healthy and perfect, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Tessa was the first person besides Nicole and Warren to hold her. "Hi, Emma," she whispered. "I'm your big sister, Tessa. I'm going to teach you everything about science and space and how to be brave. We're going to have so many adventures together." Emma's tiny hand wrapped around Tessa's finger, and everyone's hearts melted. Warren stood beside them, one hand on Tessa's shoulder, the other holding Nicole's. His whole family together. "She's perfect," he said. "Just like us," Tessa added. In the corner, Ruth and Margaret held hands, watching the scene with satisfied smiles. "We did good," Ruth said. "We did excellent," Margaret agreed. Over the next few months, life settled into a new normal. Tessa took her role as big sister seriously, helping with feedings and diaper changes. Nicole juggled work and motherhood with Warren's full support. The house was filled with laughter, baby cries, and love. On Emma's first birthday, they threw a party in their backyard. Friends, family, colleagues all gathered to celebrate. Warren stood on the porch watching his wife play with their daughter while Tessa helped serve cake. His grandmother sat with Ruth, the two of them plotting something new. His life was chaos and noise and absolutely perfect. Tessa came over and handed him a piece of cake. "What are you thinking about, Dad?" "Just how lucky I am." "We're all lucky." Tessa leaned against him. "Remember when I crashed your blind date? How could I forget? That was the best decision I ever made." "Mine too, sweetheart." "Mine too." As the sun set on the party, Nicole came over with Emma on her hip. "Look at our family," she said, gesturing to everyone gathered in their yard. Warren pulled them all close. His wife. His daughters. His home. A year and a half ago, he'd been a lonely man with an empty house. A 7-year-old girl had crashed his blind date and changed his life forever. Now he had everything. Love, purpose, family. And it all started because one brave little girl asked for help, and he'd been smart enough to say yes. "What are you grateful for?" Nicole asked, a question they'd started asking each other every night. "This," Warren said simply. "All of this." "Me too." Tessa hugged them both. "Me three." Emma babbled something that might have been agreement. And in that moment, standing in their backyard surrounded by love, Warren Mitchell knew he'd finally found what he'd been searching for his whole life. Home wasn't a place. It was these people. His family. Complete.